Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I just finished up my Salt Lake video and now we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, episode 13 and 14. I'm lumping these together because I'm trying to get back on track for next week. So we're just going to lump these 2 weeks together and then we're going to be back to our regularly scheduled programming. Can I talk? So episode 13 comes back to the dinner at Katie's house where Tamara and Eddie are not happy with Ryan and Jen because they feel like he's lying about this whole, well, one, he went on a podcast and talked crap about them. And then two, supposedly there's this thing going on that he's involved in with the FBI, with this gambling ring or something going on. And it sounds like he is very close to the source of this. Whether or not he's involved, it seems potentially up in the air, but it's not looking good because they did show a video of them saying, I think it was a TikTok or something they put in the episode where they were talking about how Ryan's address was associated with where this money was going from this gambling stuff or something, or this company that they used for the gambling stuff. I'm not 100% sure on the details, but when Ryan was explaining it though, after Emily's questioning, which I was like, I love this. Emily's being a lawyer. She's questioning. She's doing her research. But I felt like was definitely trying to like wiggle his way out of it a little bit and trying to just say like, oh, my friend, it's all him. It's not me. Yeah, I go with him every week to Vegas, but like it's not me. It doesn't have anything to do with me. When Emily was like, well, what else is there to do in Vegas other than like gamble and drink and party? It's like, yeah, I was like, it's not called Sin City for nothing, okay? Like, what are you doing there every week other than gambling? I mean, that's kind of like the big thing. That's their big industry there. Then moving on from the gambling thing, I think this was when Emily was talking to Heather about how she felt about the fashion show thing. I still think to an extent Emily was overreacting a little bit. However, Heather was being dismissive of her feelings, and it was good that she like heard her out. But the hate comments to me on Instagram are just like, I think that's why also Emily has like a lot of issues with it, because she knows how differently she's seen from people when she's like on Instagram or on the show. Like, people just, they say shit online because they can, because they're hidden and nobody's on the internet and they think they can say whatever they want. But it's like, you actually have like implications in somebody's actual life. As much as I think they all want to ignore the hate comments, like, it still affects them. Then we go to the tea party for Shannon's birthday, and she tells them all that she's taking them to London for her birthday / I guess the girls' trip for the season. And Gina's accent was horrible. When she was doing the British accent, I was like, please stop. It's like, it was so bad, I was dying. Then oh my God, I loved because they got on, they started talking about John and Alexis somehow, and Shannon starts going off about it, and they were like, stop, like we can't talk about this right now. But I love they flashed to I think Shannon literally pulled her bank statements, being like, this is all the stuff I bought for John, this is all the stuff I bought for John, she brought the receipts. Literally, she was circling, I bought this for John. She brought her bank statements, which the John lawsuit too will get brought up in episode 14 in the second half of this video, so we're gonna get there in a second. But yeah, I love that she was like pulling those bank statements to prove John wrong. Alexis sent flowers to Shannon, saying happy birthday. I think she was trying to be the bigger person, sort of, but like making a little bit of a scene with it. Somebody said, I think it was Shannon maybe said this, with like the mean tactic didn't really didn't really work for them. So I think they're trying to like go the other way and make them seem like the victims and all nicey nice. But then in my opinion, it gets a little bit worse for Alexis when they go, because Shannon basically tells the group, we're going to London, but I am not inviting Alexis. And I think for good reason. I think it was totally valid. Her text, I agree, was a little harsh, but like, I think it's totally valid. Like, why would she want Alexis there? Also, Alexis is not really officially part of the group. I know she likes to pretend she's an official part of the cast, but like, you're a friend of. Friend ofs don't always get invited to the big trip. I'm sorry. But then Jenn and Katie say, we'll tell her for you. You don't text her because she's just gonna get upset by that text. So don't text her, we'll go and like let her know like you're not invited to this trip. But Shannon had texted her anyway. And, you know, Jenn and Katie were like, we just want to be friends and come here and tell you because we like you. We don't want you to think that like we don't like you or we're not defending you or anything or whatever, what have you. Like this whole situation doesn't affect that we like you as a friend. Alexis goes and sees the text that Shannon had sent saying she wasn't invited to the trip. She just basically, she gets upset and is like, well, of course she's being dramatic. She's like, what did I do? And it's like, what do you know what you did? And then John's upstairs too. Like you know. Okay, but I couldn't believe when Alexis got up, walked to her door, opens it, and just like, get out. These girls are trying to be your friend and you open the door and say, get out. What? I genuinely couldn't believe like how rude she was. And it's so, to me, it just shows also like how phony she is. And like, it's all kind of like for TV, this like friendship and trying to like, I'm the cool girl. I'm fun Lexi, you know, like, I don't think you're really that fun. Like, I don't think she's really as fun as she like. The fact that she would just get up and kick those two girls out of her house for literally no reason, like nothing that has anything to do with them. It was so rude. I was like, I was really shocked by that. And I just don't get like, why does Alexis care about being around Shannon so much? Like, I don't see the point. Like, you are kind of in a lawsuit sort of with her. Granted, it doesn't, I mean, I think it does kind of affect her because I'm assuming the clause of like not defaming each other probably also applies to Alexis. So I'm assuming to an extent this lawsuit does involve Alexis, but she's like, oh, we're not gonna put a muzzle on Johnny J, which we will also talk about in the next episode. Let's move on to episode 14. The episode starts with a bunch of the ladies going and getting mammograms, which I thought was like really nice that Heather encouraged them. They've also done that on Beverly Hills where there's the encouragement to go get mammograms, which I thought was really a nice thing that they show on TV because I think it can encourage people to go. But then it was crazy Shannon getting the text from Alexis saying that like, if you can take all the ladies on this London trip, then you sure as hell could pay back my future husband. It was like, your future husband, which granted now they are engaged, but to say that after 4 months of dating is pretty insane. I am so excited for this London trip. I love London. I'm so happy they're going to London. The minute they walked into their hotel room, I was like, wait, this is the same hotel. You cannot tell me otherwise. That is the same hotel that they stayed at on New York when Carol went, Heather had a Yummy Tummy event and Carol, Luann, Sonia, and I think maybe it was just Heather, all went to London and they stayed in that hotel, that giant hotel suite all together. I was like, that's the same one. They can't tell me it's not. It's a little remodeled now, but I was like, that is the same place, which I don't know. I always love when the different franchises like stay in the same places when they go to similar locations for trip. While they're on the trip, it sounds like this interview that Shannon had done with Jeff Lewis came out, and I'm like, not another Jeff Lewis interview intervening with the Housewives. Like, seriously, if you guys don't know, if you've watched my Real Housewives of New York recaps, Brynn got upset about Aaron going on a Jeff Lewis interview, which basically, Aaron, I don't think said anything. It was really all Jeff Lewis. And this time, I will say Shannon was the one who dug her grave a little bit, but in the New York case, I was like, no. It was Jeff Lewis. This, however, was not as much about Jeff Lewis. It was, Shannon was kind of saying two different things about the whole John situation, at least the night of her DUI. It's weird because she, on one hand, is saying it's not alone, but on the Jeff Lewis episode, it's kind of like, it is alone. There was even some type of like legal action he took because it was alone. There's evidence that I'm like, to me, it's like kind of doesn't matter at this point whether it's alone or not. It's like, but she did, as far as my understanding is, she offered them the money and they would not sign this non-disparagement agreement. So at this point, they're the ones kind of holding back from getting the money, if that's all they care about. But it's not all they care about. They also want to talk crap about Shannon. But I will say Shannon's story is getting a little messy because now Heather's feeling like, you told me all this stuff about the night of your DUI, and then you're saying a whole different thing on the Jeff Lewis show. I'm a little confused. I think Heather thought she was trying to trip her up and make her tell her little secrets and get caught telling them. I don't know. She was trying to do like a backstabby move, I guess. But Shannon did show the receipts of when she texted Alexis. It popped up these old texts from Alexis that does implicate her in the lawsuit with Jenn Bellino, her ex-husband, saying like they together sued Tamra and Shannon. However, I still don't understand how that really has anything to do with the other lawsuit. It's hard because I don't think Alexis would really care about this if it weren't for that prior, and I don't think Shannon would really care about Alexis necessarily if it weren't for that prior lawsuit that Jenn Bellino had taken out against Tamra and her. I think Shannon would just kind of leave it be with her if it weren't for that. And also, I kind of skipped over this part because it was in the middle of the lawsuit situation and the interview with Jeff Lewis. But Heather, I also understand Heather being upset about nobody asking her about the mammogram and how hers went. However, I think it's a misunderstanding, just like the fashion show thing with Emily was a whole misunderstanding and she didn't communicate it. And that's what Gina's bringing up. It's like, well, why didn't you communicate that before? Like we just all assumed because we heard cheering in the other room, we thought you were fine. We thought everything was great. We didn't, so it wasn't coming really from a lack of like, we don't care how you're doing or how it went, but it was like, we just thought it was fine based on everybody's actions. So that is all my notes for Orange County episode 13-14. I'm excited to see a little bit more of the London trip, and it seems like we're gonna get a little bit more from Tamra going after Jen and Ryan, so we'll see about that. The season is fast coming to an end. I know I think they already filmed the reunion, and then I will have more time to work on my other episodes. I don't know if I'm going to be fully going through all of Potomac. We'll see. Also, Beverly Hills is coming, I think, at some point soon, which I need to recap or review the trailer for Beverly Hills because I think that dropped, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get there eventually. We're getting back on track. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.